Hello, and welcome to this edition of ASEC Conversations. Today, we are pleased to have with us Craig Thompson, Commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. At this time, I'll turn it over to our host, Ashley Hammett. Ashley?
Hello, thank you so much for joining us. As a student, you studied journalism at the University of Minnesota. Did you ever think that being the commissioner of a major collegiate athletic conference was somehow going to be in your future? And was that an early aspiration?
Never in my future, and obviously never an aspiration. You know, that's funny. And I think I've been a Division I commissioner for 32, 33 years now. And I get asked that question more than any. You know, technically, or think of it as an 18-year-old in high school in rural Minnesota, I didn't even know what a commissioner was. I didn't know there were commissioners. And so it's kind of a matriculation, and you learn some things and do some things. Now, one thing that was steady was a compassion for college sports. And when I worked in professional basketball, I remember working on Saturdays, we had a night game or something, and people come and say, "Why are you watching college football? Why do you care so much?" I said, "Well, I care a little bit more about college than I do the NBA, and that's my paycheck." But it was interesting because that's always been a passion.
You were the first and only commissioner for the Mountain West Conference. What was it like literally starting a conference from the ground up?
Very interesting. So we had no children at the time. We have two grown adult children now. But when we moved from Atlanta to New Orleans and started this from scratch, I'll never forget accepting the job. And they said, "We will pay you X and you can hire a PR person, an administrative person, and get it started yesterday." And there wasn't really a textbook or a game plan. And that was the first time, the American South Conference in the late 80s. And then I had the opportunity to do again with the Mountain West Conference, much easier in the late 90s, because there was a template and there was a league in existence. We had a number of people leave a conference and start the Mountain West. So again, there was a bit of a blueprint. We tell a story around our office. Literally, the presidents of the current Mountain West decided to start this league in June. And in October, I was hired. And literally, there was a 3-ring green notebook. We still have it in our office today after 21 years, that people were making all the plans and saying, "Well, here's what we should do." There was no name. There was no logo. There was no conference office. It came down to Las Vegas, and Colorado Springs is the headquarters. But at least I had the experience, fortunately, of starting a league a couple decades earlier.
What has been the most rewarding achievement during your tenure?
You know, I think just getting people on the same page. They're very proud. We have a very short history. 21 years is a short period of time in college athletics. And I joke that, you know, some leagues have older equipment than we have been in business for 21 years. But the camaraderie and the willingness to work together. Now, what was it, 6-8 years ago, a number of changes in memberships of leagues and people went different directions. And so we kind of reinvented ourselves and arguably got back to what the league was 20 years ago with some of the same members, Mountain West 2.0 perhaps. But it's the reward, I think, is people working together and trying to promote and market, you know, the same dream. And, you know, we're in a unique setting in the Western United States. We've got a lot of people. One of my favorite sayings is, "You can drive 8 hours and you're halfway there," you know, and whereas in condensed populous areas, you know, and that's one of the things we're talking about now with financial cutbacks, trying to get situations where we can travel. We're really an airplane league, and it's very expensive to go from point to point because of the vast geographic difference.
You have chaired and served on numerous NCAA committees and are presently in your second term on the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee. How difficult was it to make the unprecedented decision to cancel the NCAA tournament this year, especially as the country was still grappling the potential of this virus?
That was really a hard one. And you look back over several decades of decisions. Obviously, the Men's Basketball Committee didn't make the decision, the NCAA board did. But it was very challenging, and to walk through very quickly. On a Wednesday night, we were prepared to start our business, and we had delayed a couple of votes. Our NCAA representative, Vice President Danny Gavitt, was in and out of the room a lot, so we kind of suspended some of our normal Wednesday work. and we were about to close for the evening, and the word about the NBA shutting down and Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz. Boy, we all went to bed that night saying it's going to be an interesting tomorrow. And at that point, they started cavalcading with this conference not playing its championship, that conference not playing its championship. And back up a step, on that Wednesday afternoon, the board had decided we will continue to play the tournament without fans, which in and of itself is uniquely different. And then by the time we got to Thursday and the NBA decision that previous Wednesday night and all the other conferences, and you could tell and sense in the room that as the day was progressing that we were probably getting to the likelihood there wouldn't be an NCAA tournament for the first time in 80 plus years.
Of course, the topic on everyone's mind these days is the 2020 college football season. With the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, what do you think that could or will look like?
Well, if you could answer that question, Ashley, I'll repeat it. I don't have a real great answer. It's interesting because we talk to boards all the time. You know, there's 130 Division I university presidents. They answer to a board. There's 130 head football coaches, 130 athletic directors, 50 state governors, the federal government, a myriad of NCAA committees, and everybody's asking that same question. I think it's going to be dependent upon when we can get back to somewhat of a normal business process, what it was like in February with 30,000 students. Now, maybe there's a hybrid model. We bring back, pick a number, 12,000 students, 10,000 students, 1,500 students, and you can integrate and use athletes as part of those students, but it's really going to come back to a safety issue and a wellness issue.
Last month, the NCAA Division I Council, on which you previously served, voted to allow schools to provide spring sports student athletes with an additional season of competition and an extension of their period of eligibility. From a conference standpoint, what are the pros and cons of this decision?
Well, it was the right decision at the time. It felt good in giving the opportunity back that was lost. But as you delve into the issue, it's challenging of the squad sizes. Baseball's a partial scholarship sport. They could have 40, 50 players. They recruit a hot freshman third baseman. Now it comes back thinking, I'm going to have a chance to start at third base, and that senior or two seniors ahead of them are coming back for another half season. The finances of paying for their financial aid, and people are all different on that. Some are allowing those, some are not. And so, you know, at the time it was the right decision. It was a heartfelt decision, and, you know, it's not going to be second guessed because it's here, but, you know, managing squad sizes and managing those people, it's going to be really interesting by the time we get to August, September, presuming that we're back to having competitions. Just how many seniors come back, maybe ready to get on with their lives, maybe have a job opportunity, et cetera. So it'll be very curious as to how many actually do come back when classes resume.
The NCAA announced on Wednesday that its Board of Governors supports a plan that gives athletes the ability to cash in on their names, images, and likeliness as never before, and without involvement from the association, schools, and conferences. How do you think that this will impact college sports as a whole?
The second big it's going to be very interesting because, again, you know, there's a concern about outside involvement. Certainly it's the right thing to do. It's their name, it's their image, it's their likeness, but how we manage and process that and the governance and oversight of that whole, and what is permissible, what is allowable. The board has said you can't have the university name on the front of your jersey. You can't use the facilities. You can't use the name of that institution or that sport. And so it's a brave new world, but it's probably the right place and something that needed to be addressed and has been addressed, but more questions probably than answers right now.
You have been working with the Arizona Sports and Entertainment Commission to bring some of your conference championship competitions to the state of Arizona. What does the commission and Arizona offer your student athletes and its fans?
We love Arizona, and certainly I don't know how many student athletes we have on our 12 campuses across 8 states, but there's a ton of Arizonans. And so to be able to come great facilities, world-class facilities, weather, the opportunity. We're working with the people in Tucson and have now played several Arizona Bowls, but to bring some other championships, because it'd be great to go back and play in front of family and friends and all those athletes, an opportunity. And, particularly in the spring sport vein, but other sports, the weather's fantastic, and just an opportunity to utilize the facilities and the state and the welcomeness that the commission offers us is going to be an opportunity hopefully we'll expand upon.
If you could pick one word to describe your career, what would it be and why?
Boy, that's a great question. Fun, and it's fun because it's so different and unique. Every day I joke with people, I say, what's a normal day like? I said, depends on the first email or text. Phone call, it could go sideways. You could have a whole laundry list of things to do, but then something changes your whole day and pattern. But, just the uniqueness and differences, if you're I'm not going to pick on any walk of life or business, but if you're, my brother's a dentist. If you're a dentist and all you do is fix teeth, it gets a little boring after a while. Okay, there's another root canal. Never done this before. Our job is so unique, and you mentioned several things. COVID-19 has turned us all upside down, but the potential for all the different changes that are coming in intercollegiate athletics, NIL, et cetera. Every day is a new day, and there are differences. Certainly, we do some of the same things repetitively, but it's the challenge, and it's so unique. And one thing I tell people that are interested to get into intercollegiate administration or professional sports, don't think you're going home at 5 o'clock. It's certainly not an 8 to 5 job. And when you think about it simplistically, we generally play on Saturdays, so that makes it a 6-week day, and then there's something to do on Sunday. So it's really a labor of love. And if you have a passion for sports and love what you're doing, what's the cliche? If you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life, and that's can be a definition of intercollegiate athletics.
Well, those are all the questions I have for you. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Commissioner Thompson, for your time today. We really appreciate it. And for all of you that tuned in today, thank you for joining us. And look for us next time, Sundays at 3 p.m. for ASEC Conversations.